favourite Uncle Frog here again, and today I'm going to be talking about this. This is my new Gorget, which I made for fencing in the SCA. This you could turn into a heavy combat Gorget as well, but you have to change a couple of things, and I'll talk about that later on. But I have to be rather fast today because I've been invited to a lactose and complaint party by the cheese in my fridge. So what I did was I actually recorded little short videos as I was going along making this thing, because you know, I'm clever sometimes. So we're going to do the wibbly wobbly timey wimey thing, and we're going to go back in time, and I'll explain all the bits step by step. So past me here with a floppy doppity Gorget. The reason I'm showing you this is because after you've cut it out, you obviously need to sew it together, and you can see that this sits at quite a nice angle, and the question is, how do you get it to sit at that nice angle? So if I can show you an end, you can focus that and you can see it. Okay, what's happening there is that I have taken a cutter and I've marked 2 millimeters in on the tan side of the leather on the wall, and I've shaved off a triangle, and this means that it then sits nicely like this once you sew it together. Now obviously you have to do a saddle stitch, and this goes through the back, which I think you can see there, and through the wall, and you use a curved awl to do that, and of course linen thread. This is quite thin linen thread, and I've wrapped 5 of these threads together using a combination of beeswax and boiled linseed. And the saddle stitching, I've measured the distances between the holes. I've cheated basically. I've used one of these things. That is a pattern wheel, and I've broken off every other point on it, and that gives me quite a nice spacing. Obviously, if you're doing something that's curved, destroying the place. If you do something that is curved, then the number of holes on one side will be different to the number of holes on the other. And so on this very long bit all the way around here, it was 72 and 70. So when it became impossible to properly line the holes up to one another when I was sewing them together, I just added an extra hole in, realigned it, and carried on going, and then it all lined up quite nicely. That's basically it for this section. On to another version of Past Me. Hello everybody, a not so past me, if that makes any kind of sense. Anyway, what stage have I got to now? Well, I've got to the hard stage. Do you see what I did there? Yeah, okay, so as you can see, it's been beeswaxed, and it's now got the buckles on it. In a previous video, I talked about how to make a heavy fighting Gorget, and in that one I put the bits of leather directly into the beeswax, let it all bubble, and then took it out and shaped it. Obviously with this one, from the previous bit you saw, it was pre-shaped, so I couldn't do that. So what's the process? So you need 2 saucepans. The smaller of the 2 saucepans needs to be one you don't really care too much about, because that's what you put the beeswax into. And the larger one has some water in it. You put the smaller one inside the larger one, set the water to simmer, and you'll get melted beeswax. You then need a brush. I used a varnish brush, one of those round ones, and I put that into the beeswax so that the bristles heated up, because that's another important thing. If you put it in cold, then the beeswax will kind of congeal, coagulate, harden, pick a word, around the bristles, and it won't spread so easily. But if you put that directly onto the leather, it's not going to work. So then you need to find a roasting tray and some greaseproof. Let's try that again. Greaseproof paper. A little bit difficult to say. Yes, some of that, and you put this into you put this into your oven, somewhere between 50 and 80 degrees, not above 80. So I had mine in about 75 degrees, left it in there for about 10-ish minutes, took it out, quite hot to the touch at that point, of course, and then painted the beeswax on both sides, so on the tan side and on the reverse side. It's not going to just absorb straight in, so once you've done that, you need to put it back into the oven. And if you've got nothing else to do, you can watch the fascinating process as it kind of goes into the leather. The more coats you put on, the harder the leather becomes. And obviously, because this thing is essentially one piece, I needed this to be a little bit flexible, so I went for 3 coats in the end, which seems to be the sweet spot. So you can see it's kind of just a little bit flexible, but it's still nice and solid. The buckles here, they are late 16th century, early 17th century buckles. They come from a manufacturer called Lorifactor. I quite like them. I'm not sponsored by them. I just happen to like the stuff that they make. I put these 2 straps on first of all, and then lined everything up how I wanted it to. Laid this strap round, and then aligned the buckle strap underneath. Make sure that everything kind of lines up as I would like it. Things to do going forward. I do not want the beeswax leather sitting directly on my beautiful red doublet, so I'm going to line this somehow. At the moment, I'm thinking I'll probably put a relatively thin layer of wool in there, covered with linen. So when this gets warm in the sun, if it does leak a little bit, it should get absorbed by the wool. So woolen material, not loose wool. And then the linen will be in contact with my doublet, and I think that should be okay. There's one other little thing that needs to be corrected. This bit here, it's nice, it's protective, but it interferes with my fencing mask, so that needs to be trimmed back. Probably about 50% of that needs to be taken off at the front here, but I'll make sure it remains in a nice curve. And I think that's it for the moment. Time to move on to the next me, I suppose. So yeah, another past me, not such a clever past me as I thought I was, because I forgot to film this bit. But as you can see, you've got a photograph here showing the lining, and it's just 2 layers of thin wool and a pre-sewn together in the shapes of the gorget, and again a linen liner. And the linen liner is slightly wider, so you can fold it over, and then this is sewn through the leather, again using a saddle stitch. So yeah, nice and simple. I think it's time to move on to a more exciting current me, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, so back to sort of present me. Present me for me, that is, not for you, obviously. Yeah, you know what I mean. How did this work out? I'm actually super happy with this. I really love the pattern, and we'll talk about the pattern later on, because you will have noticed that in all of this I haven't put a pattern up, and there's a slight issue with that. The pattern is excellent, it really works. The one gripe is that this section here on the original is too high, and it really interferes with your neck movement. So I would cut it down, but I would still keep it on, because it acts as a if you like, a shot trap if something ever does come up underneath your mask, which obviously shouldn't, but if it does, then that's extra protection, which is good. Things that went wrong: this snapped first time round that I was using it along the this buckle stitching line back here. I think the reason why that happened was because I put the holes too close together. I used good quality Vegetan leather, but it still went. And so I had to replace this, and I had to sew through the lining, which kind of interferes with my sense of neatness, so you can see there. But it works, it's fine. The lining worked out quite nicely all the way around here, but as you can see at the back, that didn't quite line up. Was linen a good idea? Well, the linen is resting against my woolen doublet, so I think I'm certain that that's better than just having the rough side of the leather pushing onto it. If I find there's odd wear happening either on the linen or on the wool, then I will replace that liner with a calfskin liner, but at the moment I think that'll work. Can you use this as a SEA heavy fighting gorget? Absolutely, but I would change a couple of things. I would add far more padding inside, and I think I'd add an extra layer of beeswax onto here to stiffen it up. I mean, because there is no natural hinge here, it still has to be relatively soft because you have to be able to open it up and close it. But I quite like a little bit of flexibility in this that I've got because I only put a few layers of beeswax on, but I think another layer or two would be a good idea. But obviously you've got to be careful, because if you put too much on and you open it up, you might crack it. Yeah, so that's about it from this. The next thing is the pattern. You will have noticed that there is no pattern up here, and the reason for that is because I got the pattern off of a friend who got it off of a friend who got it off of a friend. The last time it was available on the internet was 2018, and the PDF I got very clearly has a copyright on it. However, you can go through one of the website archive trackers, and you can find when it was last active in 2018, and there's a snapshot of the PDF and some photographs underneath it. That is legal to use and legal to download, so you could take a screenshot of it, or maybe you can download that, I don't know. But what I have done is I've provided the URL, the link to that website tracker link, if that makes sense. Whatever, you know what I mean. If you look down below, you'll find a link to something which might be vaguely usable. That didn't make a lot of sense, I don't think. But anyway, have a look down there. You'll find something useful. That's about it. I hope this was useful and informative and fun and all that kind of stuff. And you know what you have to do. If you really enjoyed this, then you do all of those clicky things and show me that you love me lots. And if not, then I should just go and cry in a corner. Yeah, okay. I'll see you next time. Bye.